Hey everyone, I'm Gary Hibner and welcome to this Groove 3 series on using the Brainworks plugins in a mastering scenario. So if you watched my previous video series where I go over mixing with the Brainworks plugins, you'll be familiar with the song that we used. In that video series, I showed you how you could use the Brainworks plugins in a mixing scenario, and I did focus quite a bit on the console style plugins and how they could impart a sort of warmth and style of mixing into your productions. So I've finished this mix, and as you can see, I'm using Studio One as my DAW of choice. Now, what I want to do is separate the mixing from the mastering. So I'm going to export out my mix as a final mix as a stereo audio file, and we're going to use that as a base from what we're going to master on. What I really like about Studio One is that you can actually take your finished mix song and send it to what they call projects, and this is a dedicated mastering application. So if you want to know more about Studio One and the mastering platform, which is the projects, then definitely check out the video series that I've also done on this. One thing just to make sure is when you're doing your export out of whichever DAW that you're using, make sure on your main output bus that you haven't added any mastering processes. I know some guys like to add some mastering processes on here as just a guideline before they do the finished mastering, and then they remove them. So just make sure you bypass or remove any mastering effects on the main output bus. Now I'm going to export out this. And like I said, it's pretty easy. You can actually just send the song to the projects in Studio One. So I just go to Song, and I say add to project, and I'm going to create a new project. And what this is going to do is it's going to export out my mix and then save it in this new project. I'm just going to change the location of where I want to save it, and then I'm going to click OK. So this is going to export out my mix, and then we're going to be working with a mixed stereo audio file. And the reason for actually just bouncing out a file is also it prevents you from going back and making touch-ups and changes to the mix. You're just dealing with a dedicated stereo audio file, and changes your mindset from mixing to mastering, so you're focusing in on the mastering process. And the process is pretty much the same in any other DAW. Just make sure that you export out your mix as a stereo audio file, and then create a new project, and from there you're going to pull in your exported out stereo file, and then from there we're going to start with the mastering. Okay, so here we've got the bounce down stereo audio file. I'm just going to increase that view over here so that we can see it. So there we've got our audio waveform. As you can see, I haven't pushed the level up too much. There's still some headroom, which is a good thing because we're going to have this headroom available to us when we start mastering. Now I'm going to play back this track just so you get an idea of what the song is that we're going to be working with. But also just bear in mind, I've actually left this as a mix that does have some issues in because we're going to actually resolve and look at these issues within this mastering video series. So take it as a sort of rough mix that we're going to be working with, just to show you some of the processes that you can do with the Brainworks plugins. I might jump back to the mix and make some changes and pull the file back in, but you're just going to get a really good idea of how to use these mastering plugins within a mastering context. So with that out the way, let me play back the song for you. If you don't want to listen through the whole mix, you can skip ahead to the next video. I'll catch you then.
When the demons are gone and I'm left to myself to move on among faces of thieves and so many who grieve over everything or nothing at all, and to say that I'm lost is admitting that my sense of direction is flawed. In the eyes of the crowd still while screaming out loud, anything just to take the control of my soul. But I am still looking for an answer. I am still looking for an answer. something I learned, something found as I'm taking my turn. And I'm driving inside of this hurricane mind as the lightning burns streaks through my bones. So alone, but I am still looking for an answer. I am still looking for an answer. I am still looking for a friend. For a friend.
So there you go. Now you've got a good idea of the mix that we're going to be working with. Now, in the next few videos, let's start seeing what we start doing with the Brainworks plugins as a sort of metering and deciding where we're going to be going with the mastering. I'll catch you in the next video.